Dr. Sarah Chen looked through the big telescope at the strange metal ship sitting on the moon's gray surface. 3 days ago, no one on Earth knew that aliens were real. Now she was getting ready to meet them face to face. The ship had crashed into the moon during the night. At first, people thought it was just a big rock from space, but then the ship started sending signals. The signals were not random. Someone was trying to talk. Sarah worked as a scientist who studied life forms. She spent her days looking at tiny creatures under microscopes. Never did she think she would study aliens from another world. But here she was, putting on a special spacesuit to go meet beings from far away. The rocket ride to the moon took 2 days. Sarah sat with 5 other people. There was General Morrison, a big man with gray hair who made all the military decisions. Ambassador Williams was a woman who knew how to talk to important people from different countries. Dr. Martinez studied languages and hoped he could learn to talk with the aliens. 2 soldiers came along to keep everyone safe. When their small ship landed near the alien crash site, Sarah felt her heart beating fast. Through the window, she could see the alien ship. It was huge, maybe 10 times bigger than their little rocket. The metal was not like anything made on Earth. It looked smooth like glass but strong like steel. Strange blue lights blinked along its sides. "Remember," General Morrison said as they put on their helmets, "we don't know if these creatures are friendly or dangerous. Stay close together." Sarah picked up her bag of scientific tools. She had cameras, computers, and devices to test the air and ground. Whatever happened today would change everything people knew about life in the universe. They walked carefully across the moon's surface. The alien ship got bigger and bigger as they got closer. Sarah noticed that the ground around the ship looked burned. Whatever powered this ship was very different from Earth technology. A door opened in the side of the ship. It made no sound in the airless moon, but Sarah saw bright light coming from inside. Her heart started beating even faster. Something stepped out of the ship. Sarah had to look up and up and up. The creature was huge, maybe 8 feet tall. It looked like a person, but was much bigger and very different. Its skin looked like it was made of tiny crystals that caught the light. Strange patterns on its arms and face glowed with soft blue light. The creature wore clothes that seemed to be made of the same crystal material. On its head sat something that looked like a crown but was part of its actual body. This was clearly someone very important. Behind the tall creature, 3 others came out of the ship. They were also big, but not as big as the first one. They carried devices that might have been weapons or tools. Sarah could not tell which. Ambassador Williams stepped forward. She had practiced this moment many times on the trip to the moon. "We are humans from the planet Earth," she said into her radio. "We come in peace." The tall creature looked at them for a long time. Then it touched something on its arm. When it spoke, the words came through their radios in perfect English. "I am Queen Zelia of the Zephyrian Empire," the voice said. It sounded like a woman, but deeper and stranger than any human voice. "Our ship needs repair. We require materials and assistance." Sarah was amazed. The alien could speak their language perfectly. Dr. Martinez looked disappointed that his language skills were not needed. General Morrison spoke next. "We can help you fix your ship. What do you need?" Queen Zelia looked at each human carefully. Her eyes were larger than human eyes and glowed with the same blue light as the patterns on her skin. "Rare metals, energy sources, and time. How long will repairs take?" Ambassador Williams asked. "Many of your Earth days, perhaps weeks." Sarah saw this as a wonderful chance. "While your ship is being repaired, we could learn about each other. Share knowledge, study each other's biology and science." Queen Zelia's head turned toward Sarah. For a moment, Sarah felt like the alien queen was looking right into her mind. It was not a comfortable feeling. "You wish to study us?" Queen Zelia asked. "Yes," Sarah said, trying to sound confident. "We could learn so much from each other. About life on different worlds. About how our bodies work. Maybe we could even see if our species could work together in the future." Ambassador Williams jumped in quickly. "Dr. Chen means that humans and Zephyrians might find ways to cooperate. Perhaps through trade or shared research. Maybe even through biological compatibility studies." Sarah felt her face get red inside her helmet. The ambassador was talking about whether humans and aliens could have children together. Sarah had not meant anything like that. Queen Zelia made a sound that came through their radios. At first, Sarah thought the alien was upset. Then she realized Queen Zelia was laughing. The laugh was not mean, but it was not kind either. It was the laugh someone makes when they hear something very silly. Biological compatibility? Queen Zilia said, still laughing. You think your species and mine could breed together? The other Zephyrians behind her also made laughing sounds. Humans are so primitive, Queen Zilia continued. You reproduce like animals through physical contact. We Zephyrians create new life through energy transfer, through the meeting of minds and spirits. The idea of mixing our DNA with yours is not just impossible. It is ridiculous. Sarah felt embarrassed, but also curious. Energy transfer reproduction? This was amazing information. Queen Zilia stopped laughing and looked serious again. However, we will accept your offer of scientific exchange. It may help pass the time while repairs are made. You, she pointed at Sarah, will be our primary contact. You seem less foolish than the others. Sarah did not know if that was a compliment or an insult. We will set up a research station in our ship, Queen Zilia said. Each day one of you will come to learn about our science. We will learn about yours. But do not waste our time with silly ideas about biological compatibility. Such things are impossible. Over the next few days, Sarah found herself returning to the alien ship again and again. Queen Zilia was incredibly smart, and knew things about science that Earth had not even dreamed of. The Zephyrians could manipulate energy in ways that seemed like magic. They could heal injuries by touching them with glowing hands. They could power machines just by standing near them. Sarah brought human technology to show Queen Zilia. The alien queen found most of it crude, but was interested in some of their biological research. She seemed especially curious about how humans felt emotions and how those emotions affected their bodies. Your species is ruled by feelings. Queen Zilia observed one day as they worked together in her ship's laboratory. Fear, anger, love, sadness. These emotions control what you do. Don't Zephyrians have emotions? Sarah asked. We have them, but we control them. We do not let them control us. Especially those of us born to rule. Sarah was learning that Queen Zilia was not just any Zephyrian. She was one of the most important leaders of their entire empire. She had been exploring new parts of the galaxy when her ship broke down. As the days passed, Sarah began to see that Queen Zilia was not as cold as she seemed. Sometimes Sarah caught her looking at human pictures or videos with curiosity. Once Sarah showed her a video of human children playing, and Queen Zilia watched it 3 times. Your young are very different from ours, Queen Zilia said quietly. How are Zephyrian children different? Sarah asked, but Queen Zilia did not answer. She just turned back to her work. Sarah had no idea that in just a few days everything would change. The impossible thing that Queen Zilia had laughed about would become very real. And both their lives would never be the same again. Sarah had been visiting the alien ship for 2 weeks now. Every day she put on her spacesuit and rode the small shuttle from the human base to Queen Zilia's crashed ship on the moon. What started as simple scientific meetings had become something much more interesting. Queen Zilia was not like Sarah had expected. Most of the time the alien queen acted cold and businesslike. She gave orders to her crew and talked about repairs like a military commander. But when she and Sarah worked alone in the laboratory, Queen Zilia became different. She asked many questions about human life and seemed truly curious about how people on Earth lived. Why do humans cry when they are sad? Queen Zilia asked one morning as they studied samples under a microscope. Sarah looked up, surprised. Don't Zephyrians cry? No. When we feel sadness, our skin patterns change color. But we do not leak water from our eyes. It seems very strange, Sarah tried to explain. Crying helps us feel better. It releases chemicals in our brain that calm us down. It also lets other people know we need help. Queen Zilia touched the area around her large blue eyes. Interesting. Your emotions are connected to your body in ways ours are not. These conversations happened more and more often. Sarah found herself staying later each day, talking with Queen Zilia about everything from human music to Zephyrian poetry. The alien queen seemed hungry for knowledge about feelings and relationships. On your world, do people choose their own mates? Queen Zilia asked one evening. Usually yes, Sarah said. Most humans marry someone they love. Love, Queen Zilia repeated the word slowly. This emotion is very important to humans. Very important. What about Zephyrians? Queen Zilia was quiet for a long time. Zephyrian royalty do not choose based on love. We choose based on what is best for our people. I was bonded to another royal when I was young. He died in a war before we could complete the energy bonding ritual. Sarah felt sorry for Queen Zilia. I'm sorry for your loss. Do not be sorry. I barely knew him. It was duty, not love. Queen Zelia looked at her hands. But sometimes I wonder what it would be like to choose for myself. Sarah was learning that under Queen Zelia's royal mask was someone who felt lonely. The alien queen had spent her whole life serving her people and following rules. She had never been free to just be herself. What do you do for fun? Sarah asked another day. Fun? Queen Zelia looked confused. Activities you enjoy. Things that make you happy. Queen Zelia thought about this. I study star maps. I find the patterns of distant galaxies beautiful. But I do this alone. Queens do not have friends. That sounds lonely. Lonely is not a word we use. Queen serve. We do not need companionship. But Sarah could see in Queen Zelia's glowing eyes that she was lonely, even if she would not admit it. As the days went by, Sarah noticed that Queen Zelia began to relax around her. The alien queen's formal way of speaking became more natural. She even made jokes sometimes, though her humor was very different from human humor. Your hair changes position constantly, Queen Zelia observed one day. Is this normal for humans? Sarah reached up and touched her brown hair, which was indeed messy after a long day of work. I guess I should brush it more often. I did not say it looked bad. It moves like it has life of its own. It is interesting. Sarah felt her face get warm. Was Queen Zelia complimenting her hair? The work they did together was also becoming more interesting. Sarah was learning about Zephyrian energy manipulation, while Queen Zelia studied human biological processes. They had started working on a joint project to see if human technology could help repair the alien ship faster. Your computers process information differently than ours, Queen Zelia said as they worked late one night in the ship's laboratory. We use bioenergy networks. You use electrical circuits. Maybe we could combine them somehow, Sarah suggested. Create a hybrid system. Queen Zelia looked at her with surprise. Hybrid systems are very difficult to create. Different technologies do not usually work well together. But maybe they could if we found the right connection point, Sarah said excitedly. Something that could translate between bioenergy and electrical signals. They had been working on this idea for hours. Sarah was tired but excited about the possibility. Queen Zelia seemed energized by the challenge too. Let me try something, Queen Zelia said. She went to a large device covered in crystals and glowing panels. This is our experimental energy scanner. It can analyze any form of energy and show how it moves through different materials. Queen Zelia started touching controls on the device. The crystals began to glow brighter. Stand here, she told Sarah, pointing to a circle on the floor. The scanner needs to map your bioelectrical field first. Sarah stepped into the circle. She felt a tingling sensation as invisible energy moved around her body. Now I will stand here, Queen Zelia said, moving to another circle a few feet away. The scanner will compare our energy patterns. As Queen Zelia activated the scanner, something unexpected happened. The device made a loud humming sound that grew louder and louder. The crystals began flashing rapidly instead of glowing steadily. Something is wrong, Queen Zelia said, reaching for the controls. Before she could turn off the machine, there was a bright flash of blue-white light. Sarah felt electricity running through her whole body. She saw Queen Zelia surrounded by the same crackling energy. For just a moment, Sarah felt like she could sense Queen Zelia's thoughts and feelings. Then everything went dark. Sarah woke up on the floor of the laboratory. Queen Zelia was kneeling beside her, looking worried. Are you injured? Queen Zelia asked. Sarah sat up slowly. Her head hurt a little, but she felt okay. I think I'm fine. What happened? The scanner malfunctioned. It created an energy field much stronger than it should have. I am sorry. This was my fault. Sarah looked around. The scanner device was dark now, and she could smell something burned. Is the machine broken? Yes, but that is not important. Are you sure you are not hurt? Sarah was touched by Queen Zelia's concern. I'm really okay. Are you hurt? Queen Zelia stood up and helped Sarah to her feet. I do not think so. My people are more resistant to energy surges than humans. They spent the rest of the evening checking each other for injuries and cleaning up the laboratory. The accident had destroyed the scanner and some other equipment, but neither of them seemed to be seriously hurt. I should return to the human base, Sarah said finally. It was very late and she was tired. Yes, you should rest, Queen Zelia agreed, but she looked like she did not want Sarah to leave. As Sarah put on her helmet and prepared to go, Queen Zelia said something that surprised her. Sarah, I want you to know that these past weeks have been pleasant. I have enjoyed our conversations. Sarah smiled inside her helmet. I've enjoyed them too. You're not what I expected when I first met you. What did you expect? Someone cold and distant. But you're not really like that, are you? Queen Zelia looked away. I am what my people need me to be. But what do you want to be? Queen Zelia did not answer, but Sarah saw something change in her glowing eyes. For just a moment, the alien queen looked almost human. The next few days were normal. Sarah continued her daily visits to the ship. Queen Zelia seemed her usual self, though she was a little quieter than before. Neither of them mentioned the accident with the scanner, but 3 weeks later something would happen that would change everything. Neither Sarah nor Queen Zelia knew that the energy surge from the broken scanner had done something impossible, something that would prove Queen Zelia wrong about biological compatibility between their species, something that would turn both their worlds upside down. For now, though, they continued their work together, unaware that their lives had already begun to change in ways that science said could never happen. 3 weeks had passed since the accident with the energy scanner. Sarah continued her daily visits to Queen Zelia's ship, and everything seemed normal. They worked together on fixing the ship's broken systems and shared stories about their different worlds. But Queen Zelia was not feeling normal at all. At first, she thought the strange sensations in her body were just stress from being away from home for so long. Zephyrian bodies were very sensitive to changes in their environment. Being on an alien moon with different gravity and energy patterns could cause many problems. The first sign that something was wrong came during a morning meeting with her crew. Queen Zelia was giving orders about ship repairs when suddenly she felt very dizzy. The room started spinning around her and her legs became weak. "My queen, are you well?" asked Commander Zax, her chief officer. Queen Zelia held onto a table to steady herself. "I'm fine." Continue with the repairs, but she was not fine. Over the next few days, the dizzy spells came more often. Queen Zelia also noticed that her energy patterns were behaving strangely. Normally, the glowing patterns on her skin stayed the same color and brightness all day. Now they flickered and changed without her control. She also felt tired all the time, which was very unusual. Zephyrians needed much less rest than humans. Queen Zelia usually slept only 3 hours each night. Now she wanted to sleep for 8 or 9 hours, just like a human. The strangest change was in her emotions. Queen Zelia had been trained since childhood to control her feelings. Zephyrian royalty never showed anger, fear, or sadness in public. But lately she found herself feeling things more strongly than ever before. When Sarah showed her pictures of Earth's oceans, Queen Zelia felt a deep sadness that she could not explain. When Sarah laughed at something funny, Queen Zelia felt happy in a way that seemed to come from somewhere deep inside her chest. "Are you feeling okay?" Sarah asked one afternoon. "You seem different lately." Queen Zelia was sitting at her workstation, but she had not done any work for the past hour. She felt too tired to concentrate. "I am experiencing some physical difficulties," Queen Zelia admitted. "But it is nothing serious." Sarah looked worried. "What kind of difficulties?" "Maybe I can help." Queen Zelia almost laughed. How could a human help with Zephyrian medical problems? But then she remembered that Sarah was a scientist who studied living things. Maybe she would have some ideas. "I feel tired and dizzy," Queen Zelia said. "My energy patterns are unstable, and my emotions are much stronger than they should be." Sarah frowned, thinking, those symptoms could mean a lot of different things. "Have you talked to your ship's doctor?" Queen Zelia nodded. "Dr. Vex examined me yesterday. He found nothing wrong. He thinks it is stress from our long mission." "Maybe you should rest more," Sarah suggested. "Take a few days off from our meetings." "No," Queen Zelia said quickly. The daily meetings with Sarah were the only part of her day that she enjoyed. "I would prefer to continue our work." Sarah looked at her with concern, but she did not argue. 2 days later, Queen Zelia's condition got much worse. She was in a meeting with Ambassador Williams and General Morrison, discussing the final repairs to her ship. The humans were eager for the Zephyrians to leave soon. Some people on Earth were getting nervous about having aliens so close to their planet. "Our engineers estimate another week of work," Queen Zelia was saying. "Then we will be able to return to our homeworld." Suddenly the room started spinning again. But this time was different. Queen Zelia felt like she was falling, even though she was sitting down. Her skin patterns began flashing rapidly, which in Zephyrian culture was a sign of extreme distress. Queen Zelia? Ambassador Williams called out. Queen Zelia tried to stand up, but her legs would not support her. She fell to the floor and everything went black. When she woke up, she was in the medical bay of her own ship. Dr. Vex was standing over her, looking at readings on his medical scanner. His face showed worry and confusion. How long was I unconscious? Queen Zelia asked. 2 hours, Dr. Vex replied. My queen, I need to ask you some questions. Have you been in contact with any unusual energy sources recently? Queen Zelia thought about the accident with the scanner 3 weeks ago. There was a malfunction with our experimental energy scanner. I was exposed to an energy surge. Dr. Vex made notes on his tablet. Was anyone else exposed? The human scientist Sarah Chen. Dr. Vex looked even more worried. My queen, I need to run more tests. The readings I'm getting from your body are unusual. Over the next several hours, Dr. Vex performed every medical test known to Zephyrian science. He scanned Queen Zelia's energy patterns, analyzed her blood, and checked her neural activity. With each test, he looked more and more confused. Finally, he asked Queen Zelia to come to his private office. My queen, what I am about to tell you will be difficult to understand, Dr. Vex said slowly. According to these tests, your body is going through changes that should be impossible. What kind of changes? Dr. Vex showed her a display screen with complex medical information. Your cellular structure is being altered by foreign genetic material. Your energy patterns are mixing with biological patterns I have never seen before. Queen Zelia stared at the screen. I do not understand what you are saying. Dr. Vex took a deep breath. My queen, you are pregnant. Queen Zelia felt like she had been hit by lightning. That is impossible. I have not participated in any bonding rituals. I have not been in physical contact with any other Zephyrian. That is correct. But the genetic material in your body is not Zephyrian. Queen Zelia stood up so quickly that she almost fell again. What are you saying? The foreign DNA appears to be human. The room was completely silent for a long moment. Queen Zelia felt like the world had stopped spinning. That is impossible, she whispered. Humans and Zephyrians cannot reproduce together. I explained this to them weeks ago. Our biology is completely different. I know what you explained, Dr. Vex said gently, but the tests do not lie. Somehow human genetic material has bonded with yours to create a hybrid embryo. Queen Zelia sat back down, feeling weak. How could this happen? The only possibility I can think of is the energy scanner accident. If the energy surge was strong enough, it might have caused changes at the molecular level that we do not yet understand. Queen Zelia put her head in her hands. This was the most humiliating thing that could happen to a Zephyrian queen. She had laughed at the humans when they suggested biological compatibility. She had called their ideas ridiculous and primitive, and now she was carrying a human Zephyrian hybrid child. Who else knows about this? She asked. Only me. But you will not be able to hide it for long. The changes in your body will become obvious to your crew within days. Queen Zelia felt panic rising in her chest. My people will never accept this. A queen who carries an alien child will be considered unfit to rule. They will remove me from power and exile me. Perhaps the human scientist can help us understand what happened, Dr. Vex suggested. Sarah? Queen Zelia felt angry at the mention of her name. This was Sarah's fault somehow. If Sarah had not insisted on the energy experiments, none of this would have happened. She was exposed to the same energy surge, Dr. Vex said. She might be experiencing similar changes. Queen Zelia stood up, feeling stronger now that she had something to focus her anger on. Bring her here immediately. I want to confront her about what she has done to me. My queen, she may not have known this could happen. I do not care what she knew or did not know. This is her fault and she will help fix it. An hour later, Sarah arrived at the medical bay. She looked worried and confused. Is Queen Zelia okay? She asked Dr. Vex. Commander Zek said she collapsed during a meeting. I am fine, Queen Zelia said coldly as she entered the room. But we need to discuss what your energy scanner accident has done to me. Sarah looked confused. What do you mean? We were both checked for injuries that night. Either of us was hurt. That is what we thought, Queen Zelia said. But we were wrong. The energy surge has caused changes in my body that should be impossible. What kind of changes? Queen Zelia looked directly at Sarah, her eyes glowing brighter than usual with anger. I am pregnant. With a human Zephyrian hybrid child. Sarah's face went completely white. She sat down heavily in a chair. That's impossible, Sarah said, repeating the same words Queen Zelia had used. That is what I said. But your human DNA is growing inside my body right now. Sarah looked like she might faint. I don't understand how this could happen. We didn't. I know what we did and did not do, Queen Zelia said sharply. This happened because of your experimental scanner. Because you wanted to create hybrid systems. I never meant for anything like this to happen, Sarah said quietly. I'm so sorry. Sorry will not fix this problem, Queen Zelia said. I need to return to my homeworld immediately. My people have medical technology that might be able to reverse these changes. Dr. Vex looked uncomfortable. My queen, space travel in your condition could be very dangerous. The hybrid embryo might not survive the journey. And if it does not survive, you might not survive either. Queen Zelia felt trapped. She could not stay here and let the humans see her shame, but she could not leave without risking her life. There has to be something we can do, Sarah said. Some way to help. Queen Zelia looked at her with cold anger. For 3 days after learning about the pregnancy, Queen Zelia refused to see Sarah. She stayed in her private quarters on the ship, trying to figure out what to do. Her crew knew something was wrong, but she had not told them the truth yet. Dr. Vex visited her every few hours to check on her health. The hybrid pregnancy was unlike anything in Zephyrian medical books. Queen Zelia's body was changing in ways that confused even their most advanced science. Your energy patterns are becoming more stable, Dr. Vex reported during one visit, but they are also becoming more like human patterns. What does that mean? Queen Zelia asked. It means the child is changing you as much as you are creating it. Your emotions are becoming stronger, like human emotions. Your need for rest and food is increasing. Even the way you think may be changing. Queen Zelia felt frightened by this news. If she was becoming more human, what would happen to her Zephyrian abilities? What would her people think of a queen who was no longer fully Zephyrian? On the 4th day, Sarah came to the ship again. Commander Zex told her that Queen Zelia would not see her. Please tell her I brought some things that might help, Sarah said. I've been researching human pregnancy. There are foods and vitamins that help human mothers stay healthy. Maybe they will help her too. Commander Zex looked uncomfortable. He did not understand why the human scientist was so concerned about their queen. I will tell her, he said. When Commander Zex delivered the message, Queen Zelia was sitting by the window in her quarters, looking out at the stars. She had been thinking about her homeworld and wondering if she would ever see it again. She brought gifts? Queen Zelia asked. Yes, my queen. Food items and some bottles of medicine. Queen Zelia was quiet for a long time. Finally, she said, Bring her to me. Sarah entered Queen Zelia's quarters carrying a bag full of supplies. She looked nervous and worried. I brought some things that help human mothers, Sarah said quietly. Folic acid vitamins, calcium supplements, and some foods that are good for developing babies. Queen Zelia looked at the bag. Why are you helping me? This pregnancy is destroying my life. Sarah sat down across from Queen Zelia. Because it's partly my fault. And because I care about what happens to you. You should not care about me. I have been nothing but angry with you. You had every right to be angry, Sarah said. This is an impossible situation. But we're in it together now. Queen Zelia studied Sarah's face. The human looked tired and worried. Have you told your people about my condition? No. I thought that should be your choice. Queen Zelia was surprised by this. She had expected Sarah to tell everyone immediately. Why have you kept it secret? Because I know what it means for you. You told me that queens don't have friends. You've spent your whole life following rules and serving your people. This pregnancy could take away everything you've worked for. Queen Zelia felt something change in her chest. It was a warm feeling that she did not recognize. You understand? I'm trying to understand, Sarah said. I've been reading about Zephyrian culture. I know that royal bloodlines are very important to your people. This pregnancy goes against everything they believe. Queen Zelia looked down at her hands. The glowing patterns on her skin were brighter than usual. If my people learn about this child, they will say I am no longer fit to rule. They will choose a new queen and exile me to one of the outer planets. Would they really do that? Yes, Zephyrian law is very clear. A ruler who brings shame to the empire must be removed from power. Sarah was quiet for a moment. Then she said, What if the pregnancy is not shameful? What if it's something amazing? Queen Zelia looked up at her. What do you mean? Think about it. This child will be the first human Zephyrian hybrid in history. She could be the bridge between our two species. She could help humans and Zephyrians understand each other better. She? Queen Zelia asked. Sarah smiled slightly. Dr. Vex told me the baby is female. I hope that's okay. Queen Zelia felt something strange happen to her face. Her mouth curved upward without her permission. She was smiling, something Zephyrian queens rarely did. A daughter, Queen Zelia said softly. Over the following weeks, Sarah visited Queen Zelia every day. At first, Sarah came to bring supplies and check on Queen Zelia's health. But soon the visits became about much more than medical care. Queen Zelia found herself looking forward to Sarah's visits. Sarah was the only person who knew about the pregnancy, which made her the only person Queen Zelia could talk to honestly. The baby moved today, Queen Zelia told Sarah one afternoon. I could feel her shifting around inside me. Sarah's eyes lit up with excitement. Really? That's wonderful. Human babies usually start moving around this time in the pregnancy. Queen Zelia placed her hand on her growing stomach. It feels very strange. Like there is another person living inside my body. There is another person living inside your body, Sarah said with a laugh. Your daughter. The word daughter made Queen Zelia feel happy and scared at the same time. She had never expected to have children. Zephyrian royalty usually only had children for political reasons, and Queen Zelia had never found the right political match. But this child was not political. This child was something else entirely. As the pregnancy continued, Queen Zelia's body changed more and more. Her energy patterns became completely different from normal Zephyrian patterns. She needed more food, more sleep, and more emotional support than she had ever needed before. The emotional changes were the hardest part. Queen Zelia had been trained to hide her feelings, but the pregnancy made that impossible. She found herself crying when she thought about her daughter's future. She felt angry when she thought about her people rejecting the child. She felt happy when Sarah brought pictures of human babies. Is this normal?
Queen Zelia asked Dr. Vex one day.
These strong emotions? Human mothers experience very strong emotions during pregnancy, Dr. Vex explained. It appears that your hybrid pregnancy is making you experience emotions the way humans do. This frightened Queen Zelia. If she was becoming too human, how could she ever return to rule her people? But Sarah helped her see the emotional changes differently. Emotions aren't a weakness, Sarah told her. They help us understand what's important. They help us connect with other people. Zephyrian queens do not need to connect with people, Queen Zelia said. We need to lead them. But what if you could do both? What if you could lead your people and also understand them better? Queen Zelia had never thought about leadership this way before. As her pregnancy progressed, Queen Zelia found herself changing in other ways too. She began to question rules she had never questioned before. She started to wonder if Zephyrian culture was right about everything. My people believe that mixing with other species is wrong, Queen Zelia told Sarah one evening. But this child is not wrong. She is beautiful. Queen Zelia had been looking at ultrasound images that Dr. Vex had taken. The baby looked like a perfect combination of human and Zephyrian features. She is beautiful, Sarah agreed. She's going to be amazing. But what kind of life will she have? She will not be fully accepted by either species. Sarah took Queen Zelia's hand. Maybe she'll create a new way of being accepted. Maybe she'll help both our species learn that being different isn't bad. Queen Zelia looked at Sarah's hand holding hers. Physical contact was not common among Zephyrians, but Sarah's touch felt comforting. Sarah, Queen Zelia said quietly, I need to tell you something. What is it? I was wrong to blame you for this pregnancy. It was not your fault. And I was wrong about something else too. What? I said that biological compatibility between our species was impossible. But maybe impossible things can happen when people care about each other enough. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. Do you really mean that? Queen Zelia squeezed Sarah's hand. I mean that you have become important to me. More important than I ever expected a human could be. You've become important to me too, Sarah said softly. They sat together in comfortable silence, both thinking about how much their lives had changed. What are we going to do when the baby comes? Sarah asked finally. Queen Zelia had been thinking about this question for weeks. I cannot return to my people while carrying this child. They will reject both of us. Then maybe you don't have to go back. Queen Zelia looked at Sarah with surprise. What do you mean? Maybe you could stay here. Help build a new kind of relationship between humans and Zephyrians. Raise your daughter somewhere she can be proud of both sides of her heritage. Queen Zelia felt that warm feeling in her chest again. For the first time since learning about the pregnancy, she felt hope instead of fear. You would want us to stay? I would want you to stay, Sarah said. Both of you. Queen Zelia realized that Sarah was offering her something she had never had before, a choice. A chance to decide her own future instead of following the path others had chosen for her. I need to think about this, Queen Zelia said. But deep in her heart, she already knew what she wanted to choose. The day Queen Zelia went into labor, the moon shook with energy unlike anything anyone had ever seen. Dr. Vex had been monitoring her condition for weeks, but nothing had prepared him for what happened when the hybrid child decided to be born. Sarah was with Queen Zelia in the medical bay when the labor pains started. Queen Zelia's skin patterns began flashing rapidly and waves of bioenergy pulsed from her body. The baby is coming, Dr. Vex said, checking his medical scanners. But her energy output is affecting all the ship's systems. Throughout the ship, lights flickered on and off. Computers shut down and restarted by themselves. Even the communication system sent random signals into space. Is this normal? Sarah asked, holding Queen Zelia's hand. Nothing about this pregnancy has been normal, Dr. Vex replied. The child appears to have both human and Zephyrian abilities. She is generating her own energy field while still in the womb. Queen Zelia gripped Sarah's hand tighter as another wave of pain hit her. She is strong, Queen Zelia said between breaths. I can feel her power. The labor lasted 8 hours. During that time, the energy pulses from the baby grew stronger and stronger. Finally, Dr. Vex announced that the child was ready to be born. When baby Luna entered the world, she did something that amazed everyone in the room. She glowed, not with the blue light of Zephyrian energy patterns, but with a soft golden light that seemed to come from deep inside her tiny body. She is beautiful, Sarah whispered, tears running down her face. Queen Zelia looked at her daughter and felt her heart fill with a love she had never known existed. Luna had Queen Zelia's large eyes and Sarah's small nose. Her skin had a slight crystal-like texture, but it was soft like human skin. Most amazing of all, she seemed to be breathing normally in the ship's atmosphere. How is she breathing? Sarah asked. Zephyrians need different air than humans. Dr. Vex ran a quick scan of the baby. Incredible. Her lungs can process both human and Zephyrian atmospheric conditions. She is truly a perfect hybrid. Over the next few days, Luna showed more of her amazing abilities. She could photosynthesize energy from light like a Zephyrian, but she also needed milk like a human baby. Her skin patterns glowed softly when she was happy and dimmed when she was sleepy. Most surprising of all, Luna seemed to respond to both Queen Zelia's bioenergy and Sarah's emotional states. When either of her mothers was upset, Luna would reach toward them with her tiny hands. She knows we are both her mothers, Queen Zelia observed one evening as they watched Luna sleep. Both her mothers? Sarah asked. Queen Zelia nodded. You helped create her, even if not in the traditional way. You have cared for her from the beginning. In every way that matters, you are her mother too. Sarah felt tears in her eyes again. She had not expected Queen Zelia to see their relationship this way. 2 weeks after Luna's birth, a message arrived from the Zephyrian Empire. Queen Zelia's absence had been noticed, and they were demanding her immediate return. Queen Zelia read the message while holding Luna in her arms. The baby was glowing softly, content and peaceful. What will you tell them? Sarah asked. Queen Zelia looked at her daughter, then at Sarah. Over the past months, these two beings had become more important to her than her crown, her title, or her people's approval. I will tell them the truth, Queen Zelia said finally. She composed a message to the Zephyrian High Council. In it, she explained about the pregnancy, about Luna's birth, and about her decision to abdicate her throne. I choose love over duty, she wrote. I choose to build a future where differences are celebrated rather than feared. I am no longer your queen, but I hope someday I can be something better. When she sent the message, Queen Zelia felt both scared and free. For the first time in her life, she had chosen her own path. The response from the Zephyrian Empire came quickly. As Queen Zelia had expected, the High Council rejected her decision and declared her a traitor to her people. They said she was no longer welcome on any Zephyrian world. But something unexpected also happened. 3 ships appeared near the moon within the next week. They were not military ships coming to arrest Queen Zelia. They were Zephyrian scientists and citizens who had heard about Luna and wanted to see the hybrid child for themselves. Dr. Kess, a respected Zephyrian biologist, spoke for the group. "Not all of us agree with the High Council," she told Queen Zilia. "Some of us believe that Luna represents the future, not a mistake." These progressive Zephyrians asked if they could stay and study Luna's development. They wanted to learn how two different species could create new life together. Around the same time, human scientists from Earth also arrived. News of the hybrid baby had leaked, and researchers from around the world wanted to understand how this impossible pregnancy had happened. Sarah found herself coordinating between human and Zephyrian scientists. She helped them work together to study Luna's unique biology. "This is just the beginning," Sarah told Queen Zilia one evening. "Luna is proving that cooperation between our species is possible." Queen Zilia agreed. She had an idea that was even bigger than scientific cooperation. "What if we created a permanent settlement here?" Queen Zilia suggested. "A place where humans and Zephyrians could live together, where children like Luna could grow up feeling proud of both sides of their heritage." Sarah's eyes lit up with excitement. "A colony on the moon?" "Yes. A new kind of society where people are valued for who they are, not which species they come from." They presented this idea to both the human and Zephyrian scientists. The response was overwhelmingly positive. Within months, construction began on the first human Zephyrian settlement. They called it Luna Colony, after Queen Zilia's daughter. The colony grew quickly. Zephyrians who disagreed with their government's isolationist policies came to join the settlement. Humans who dreamed of living among the stars applied for residence permits. Scientists from both species worked together on projects that neither could have accomplished alone. Queen Zilia found herself leading again, but in a completely different way. Instead of ruling through authority and tradition, she led through inspiration and cooperation. The colonists chose her as their first governor because they trusted her vision of unity. Sarah became the colony's chief science officer. She established research programs that studied not just Luna's unique biology, but also ways that humans and Zephyrians could work together to solve problems. As Luna grew from a baby into a toddler, more hybrid children were born in the colony. It turned out that Queen Zilia and Sarah's pregnancy had not been entirely unique. When humans and Zephyrians worked closely together with shared goals and mutual respect, biological compatibility sometimes became possible. Each hybrid child was different. Some could photosynthesize like Zephyrians. Others had enhanced human abilities. All of them seemed to have a natural talent for understanding both human emotions and Zephyrian energy patterns. 5 years after Luna's birth, Queen Zilia stood on the observation deck of the colony's main building, watching her daughter play with a group of other children. Luna was teaching human children how to make their skin glow softly, while Zephyrian children were learning to laugh the way humans do. Sarah joined Queen Zilia on the observation deck, carrying their newest daughter, Nova, who had been born 2 years earlier through a planned energy bonding ceremony. "Do you ever regret giving up your throne?" Sarah asked. Queen Zilia put her arm around Sarah's shoulders and watched Luna chase her friends across the playground. The little girl's golden glow had grown brighter as she got older, and her laughter filled the air with music. "I gave up a throne to gain a family," Queen Zilia said. "I gave up ruling over people to help create a place where people rule themselves. I gave up being feared to learn how to be loved." Sarah leaned against Queen Zilia's shoulder. "The colony has over 1,000 residents now. Both human and Zephyrian children are applying to come study here. And the hybrid children are becoming ambassadors between our worlds," Queen Zilia added. "Luna already speaks 3 human languages and 2 Zephyrian dialects." They watched as Luna helped a younger child who had fallen down. The little girl's skin glowed brighter as she used her energy abilities to heal the child's scraped knee. Then she gave the child a very human hug. "She is going to change everything," Sarah said softly. Queen Zilia nodded. "She already has. When I first met you, I laughed at the idea that our species could create life together. Now I see that love can make any impossible thing possible." That evening, as Queen Zilia tucked Luna into bed, her daughter asked the question she asked every night. "Tell me the story about how you and Mama Sarah made me," Luna said. Queen Zilia smiled and began the story Luna never got tired of hearing. "Once upon a time, there was a queen who thought she knew everything about what was possible and what was impossible. But then she met a scientist who showed her that the most beautiful things in life happen when you are brave enough to try impossible things. Luna's skin glowed softly as she drifted off to sleep, dreaming of the stars and the bright future that was waiting for all the children of Luna Colony. Outside her window, Earth and the distant Zephyrian star system shone together in the dark sky, no longer separated by impossible distances, but connected by love, hope, and the promise of tomorrow.